Happy Monday, September 26th, and welcome to Washington Live, powered by KCTC. I'm your host, Jaron Rosine. Our producer is Nick Steffens. Our publisher is Matt Bryant, and we're part of the Southeast Iowa Union. We're starting a little bit late today. Thanks for that. I drove from Des Moines this morning, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Nick, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Yeah, I think you made pretty good time down from Des Moines, too.
Yeah, I was diligent. But we'll talk more about your weekend, my weekend, some of the many interesting things I learned in the deep southern Missouri. But before we do that, breaking news as we speak, if you're watching live or today, the 26th, the captain's table, also known as the Smouse House, is coming down right now. It is 10:20 in the morning. Contractor Brendan DeLong reports it'll take probably an hour to bring the whole building down. Then they will sort building materials. Trucks will come in tomorrow. Exercise caution if you're driving by. I slowed down a little, but you definitely need to pay attention to traffic in addition to if you're rubbernecking on the demo. So exciting stuff.
Yeah, so do they put the water on there to make it...
Keeps the dust down.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I didn't know if it was to stop it from kind of going everywhere, if dampening the wood made it fall better. I don't know.
I don't believe there's a real combustion issue, but it's more to keep the dust down and visibility and so on. Do you know what's going in there? Did you cover this in your news break?
No, I haven't.
So it'll be a Scooter's coffee.
Oh, okay. I've kind of heard the rumblings around town of a Scooter's possibility.
So they've closed on it, and that'll be the building. The Scooter's itself will be on the far east side of the lot. The entry and exit will be on the far west side. That had to go through some DOT permitting. There'll also be access through the alley. It's exciting to see something happen in that spot, but it's certainly bittersweet because it's on the historic registry of the state of Iowa. It's a historic building.
Oh, really? And cannot still allowed to do that?
You are. It goes through a different permitting process. The demolition permit. It goes through historic preservation to make a recommendation. It just wasn't economically viable.
That's fair.
Fundraising and grant writing and many attempts to save, but it'd be in the millions of dollars just to get it the structurally sound portion covered, and it just wasn't doable.
Yeah.
So, other news, a thank you to Diana for hosting and having Amber from Pause and More on. Wednesday, I will be at a conference, and Todd will be back with Dr. BJ Green. That'll be Wednesday the 28th. Look forward to those conversations happening this week. If you have a birthday shout out, stick that in the chat if you would. We have several today. You can also email those or anniversaries or local events to washialive@gmail.com. Let's see. What do we have? We have police report and weather. It is chilly, 55 degrees and cloudy as we speak.
I was shivering walking in. It was 40-something degrees when I got here. I was not expecting 40s.
Well, and we didn't have to lower the temperature in the room as much.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that because I've just been freezing all day.
No, it's good. I run hot and I come from the gym and I'm it's roasty toasty. Feels great in here today. Since we've last spoke, there's been 77 calls for service in the police report. 14 are traffic, 10 are vandalism. That is up. And I think that goes along with this homecoming weekend with animal coming in third, vandalism coming in second. You mentioned there was 7 egging calls?
7 egging calls. And I didn't even connect in my brain that it was with homecoming. That was probably the result.
Yes. And that's too bad because that is property damage. And then I was filled in with some of the rest of the story with the forking. I believe the students that did the forking were told under no circumstances would school property actions go without consequence. So apparently there was a very fair warning given, according to some. It's kind of a he said, she said, but I was looped in that there's more to the story.
I guess that makes it a bit more fair if they were verbally warned.
Still sounds terrible. 30 days and all of that. Yeah. Okay, what are the highlights? We have caller advised a parent got onto the school bus this morning and yelled and cursed at the students. 9211 spoke with the caller and they requested for this to be documented. The school will handle the incident internally.
Someone made Mama Bear mad.
Apparently. We had an arson call. A caller reported that his employee advised him that a female subject drove past and threw a gallon of gas and a match into the garage as they were cleaning. 102 responded, and then there's a report to be filed under investigation. 115 West Washington, caller reports a group of kids are blocking access to the library and using foul language. They've been asked to leave and will not leave. 109 spoke with the individuals and asked them to move on. And that's exactly what you should do. See trouble, call it in.
Honest, there's nothing more terrifying than a group of middle schoolers.
Well, I don't think these were middle schoolers. Well, maybe they were. But 653-2107 is the safety center number. If you need to call in some baloney, you can call it in to 2107. We have one other it was a call for disorderly conduct. Caller reports 2 subjects yelling loudly in the neighborhood. 102, 106, 109, and 112 all responded. Must have been a little bored. Subjects were just watching the Iowa game. No issues.
Understandable.
And as you mentioned, 7 reports of egging. Not so bueno.
No.
Local events, we mentioned that the Captain's Table Smouse House is coming down as we speak. We have the Oktoberfest golf tournament on the 30th this weekend. Are there any other local events to report?
Not that I know of. I think that's all of them.
Oh. For some other fun highlights, I'll do my good week 4, bad week 4 before we go to break, and then we'll show some of the learning that we've done. So it is a good week this week for do-overs. With the release of the iOS 16, a software update for iPhones will give users up to 15 minutes to edit typos from sent text messages. Users prone to attacks of late-night nostalgia can even delete sent messages entirely, though the window to undo send is a cruelly short 2 minutes long. Were you aware of these updates?
I was before the update came out. They're going to do it, and I'm like a little concerned, like. Because now someone can send you something, and then I never said that. They can just gaslight you. Can be like, here's the receipts. It's not in there.
Will it show the undo sent though? Like
I think
Snapchat?
it says edited or something like that.
I would think so. Yeah. Good week for lunch, with a new study suggesting that eating only during daylight hours can substantially decrease symptoms of depression and anxiety.
So I can only eat when the sun's up?
Well, daylight eating apparently has.
I mean, yeah, I think that's
good results.
I don't think we needed a study to decide that when I'm sitting on a couch and it's dark and I'm eating Cheetos, that I'm not in the best headspace.
Although that folk psychology stuff will get you all riled up, because I would say this as well in my undergrad, but some of those professors would get all worked up. Like, no, it's just called common sense.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely fine to use.
Well, that's how it was, because production was like in the comms department, and so you had to take a lot of like comm theory classes. And it's like, if you neglect a child, they'll like turn out pretty messed up. And it's like, I don't think I needed like a study to tell me to like be a good parent.
Well, and there was the ethics of all of these studies they did at the beginning too, because they would like administer pain to someone, and it was actually administering pain to them by like having to do that. It was a whole. Yeah, we don't need to go into psychological
those 70s
ethics,
psych studies were crazy.
There's some rough times. All right, so bad week. Well, I have 3 things in the bad week. Bad week for inclusivity, when a progressive representative from Washington marked the anniversary of 9/11 with a tweet remembering the 2,996 people that were killed. But that number includes the hijackers. So I think we don't include them in the rest in peace category. That's a bunch of baloney.
Yeah.
So bad week for that comment. Bad week for green energy, when a team of West Virginia coal miners came to the rescue of an out-of-state couple whose electric car ran out of battery charge. Miner Daniel House says he steered clear of potentially contentious topics while helping push the couple's car, but did give them a Friends of Coal license plate.
I think that's what we call irony.
Yes, I think it is. We have one other bad week for horse trading. I did hear this as well, with claims in the new book that was released by David Enrich that former President Donald Trump once tried to pay a lawyer a $2 million legal bill by giving a lawyer a horse that he claimed was worth much more than $2 million. The lawyer said, this is not the 1800s. You cannot pay me with a horse.
I mean, that's fair legally. I feel like that might be like you need to pay proper compensation, but that could be an investment because you put that horse into races.
If it was agreed upon, I think it'd be totally fine. Well, we're going to go to break. If you have a birthday shout out, stick that in the chat. I have several. When we come back, I am all banged up and bruised, but I learned so much in southern Missouri about the springs, and we'll talk about some archaeology stuff. Join us after the commercial break. You're watching Washington Live. We'll see you in a moment.
At Ace, we're eager to assist you with all your shopping needs. Whether that be finally painting that room, getting ready for the next hunting season, or upgrading your bathroom, whatever it may be, we'll make sure you get what you need.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Federation Bank is a locally owned bank providing award-winning customer service. We believe that we are more than just a federation of banks, but a federation of communities, serving Brighton, Richland, Wellman, and Washington, Iowa. Federation Bank's highly skilled staff is here to make sure you are able to accomplish your personal and professional goals, whatever they may be. Federation Bank, your family bank.
When you aspire to be a dancer, you are both an artist and an athlete. Your strength combines with beauty and grace seamlessly. Your efforts result in enhanced coordination, the ability to cooperate and compromise with others, and the confidence to perform in front of an audience. Not to mention the fun you will have and the lifelong friendships you will develop. We are enrolling now for fall classes, and we would love to see you shine like the star that you are. Join us for Dance and Tumbling at Stairway to the Stars. Please visit our website for online registration.
Hey, Andrea. What do you call a beehive with no exit?
What?
Unbelievable.
Welcome back to Washington Live, powered by KCTC. I'm your host, Jaron Rosine. I'm joined today by our producer, Nick Steffens. We're going to talk about some of the learning that we did this weekend. Do you want to start? What'd you do?
I don't want to say a boring weekend. It was more of just a relaxing, calm weekend I got a haircut. That was about the most exciting.
But not
thing.
too much, just a little.
Not too much. Yeah. So the reason I don't get haircuts that often is, here's just the backstory.
All right.
I used to have longer hair than I did before this haircut, pretty long. My girlfriend at the time Venmo'd me $30 and said, "You better not have long hair when I see you."
Oh, that's very bossy.
Yeah, it was before Valentine's Day.
She is no longer your girlfriend.
No, yeah. So my friend was like, "Oh, I got this barber for you. He's great." And so he gave me a haircut, but skin taper on the sides.
Oh,
my hair is
tight, like what I've got going on, or no?
Lighter than that, and my hair is shorter than that. My hair is too light for that.
Not forgiving.
So I looked bald, and I have a bad widow's peak as it is. It was an awful haircut. So I've had anxiety of getting my haircut ever since. And so I just have to bite the bullet every time.
I'm on the 4-week haircut train. I don't know what everyone else does, or if anyone has an opinion.
I'm on the 6 month.
I know we have many live viewers, and you can always interact if you'd like, share with just your thoughts. Because we'll dive into that in a second. But yeah, I'm on the 4-week train with the haircuts. Before that, I grew it out twice for 2 years. Mm-hmm. Once when I studied abroad, and once just to do it again. So. Yeah. I'm starting to look a little like I did not have a place to live. So
that's that's kind of why I need to. I look a little too shaggy with mine.
I was talking about my weekend, and you mentioned that some of this you learned in your archaeology coursework. So I went to, as some of you know, the Poltite Campground south of Salem, Missouri. Had an awesome time. It was for my buddy Scott's bachelor party. People were incredibly kind down there, gave helpful advice. This was one of the caves. So you thought the water was cold because it's all spring fed. And then you hop in this water where it's coming right out of the cave. And so then we heard 3 different things. We heard it was in the corner. They said, be careful, don't jump in over there, or be prepared for a current. It's 90 feet deep. Okay. Then someone said it's 120 feet deep. Then another person said it's 180 feet deep. And then I was in the restroom, brushing my teeth, and some guy named Herlof, Danish name, he'd been doing it for 30 years, and he said, they're all wrong. I read a book. It's 200 feet deep. They found a canoe, Native American indigenous canoe stuff. And when I was mentioning this to you, Nick, you said, you've heard about this.
Yeah.
This very spot.
Because I almost got...
Is the picture still showing? You don't need to keep...
Yeah, I can...
My torso on the
now it's showing.
Yep.
But when I took an archaeology class over the summer, we learned about it because there's so many things that are either underwater now or were underwater that we didn't find for so long because as the water level changes through the centuries, so there's things that are like in these cave systems that for them was sea level, and then it wasn't for a long time, and now it is again. Like so,
It's fascinating. Would you go to the one where there's the other spring, just the landscapey shot, right?
Yeah,
right.
This one right
back
here.
one. Well, this is the drive, so that's what we were going into. I mean, many people have seen that. Go back one and show that spring.
This one?
There was another one called the Devil's Well that led up to, and then this was right across from our campsite. You just have to cross the river and hike up, and this is where it originates. The ecosystem was fragile. We weren't swimming or diving or playing around in there.
Yeah.
But I obviously did dive. This is our group. Yeah, right there. Good fun. 2 people didn't go. They have too much anxiety to float.
That's fair. One of my friends can't swim.
5 and 7 went. And I have banged up bruises, marks, cuts, and scrapes to show for it. Oh, yeah, we ate well. We
Oh yeah,
a little food shot,
get the.
which was kind of fun. I took some marinated meats and just took cast iron. And
I bet they were happy that you came along to cook them all some great
I was
food.
I was a helper, but it was a real group. That was what. Yeah, since we're talking about it, I was really moved by. I think it's just part of getting older. Like people were considerate, kind, accepting of each other's. Because 2 of us, there's 2 new people to the group. Everyone else knew each other really well, but there was a lot of grace and patience.
Well,
You kind of have to be when you're spending like that much time together.
living. Yeah, that's
Close proximity.
so. It would have been how many 2 months ago now? How long ago was it? 3 months ago now? In June, I went to a bachelor party. It was a bunch of guys, but none of us. I didn't know any of them because it was my brother-in-law, so his friends from school, friends from high school, college, and like work friends, and it was everyone.
Was it
came
nice?
together.
Did everyone?
Everyone got along, and it was all these people from all different people. Like if we knew each other outside of that situation, we probably wouldn't have you know what I mean? Like if we met each other outside.
But it was intentional. There was an effort made, and it sounds like it was very nice.
Yeah, it was a really great time, and like saw them at the wedding a couple 2 weeks later, and it was all hugs, and they had met me one time.
I think for this reason, the wedding is going to be great as well because we all have this bonding experience. The wedding is in November, and
Oh, wow.
I think that's the highlight. Yeah, it was just a really nice time. Probably about 7 hours and 40 minutes. We all took our turns driving. The vehicles were packed, and it was a smooth operation.
I was supposed to have a bachelor party that weekend as well, so we would have had no show on Friday, but in Colorado. But now it's due to things getting canceled, moving around. It's now in Mount Pleasant, Iowa, which love Mount Pleasant. A little bit of a downgrade to go from Fort Collins, Colorado to Mount Pleasant, Iowa.
It's not.
The activities changed a lot.
So. Well, that's where I feel totally out of the loop. I'll figure this out too. I have not been able to watch the show with Diana and Amber yet. I don't even know if the Hawkeyes won. I don't know how the Bruins did. I don't know who the homecoming king is. This is embarrassing. But
I got the paper right here.
Well, I'm going to read it in a second. But so we were a little bit misled on this trip, which was good for our bonding, but Scott made it seem like, oh yeah, like reception's like a little bit spotty down there, but it'll be fine. No, it was an hour before we arrived at our final destination. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not even, I mean, I wasn't even trying. You just go to airplane mode, but it was really good. But it meant from that moment on Thursday in the middle of the afternoon, late afternoon, until Sunday, like I had nothing.
I bet that was kind of nice though, being able to completely unplug. And
my anxiety was full throttle when we got back into Salem on Sunday, and I took it off airplane mode, and I just set it aside, and I let all the notifications come in. Whether I'm popular or not, I don't know. There was 42 text notifications, so that was a bit to dig through.
Yeah,
and it just, I was like nervous about what was going to come, and there's nothing life-threatening. It's just about perspective.
Yeah.
If you're watching, we appreciate you watching. If you're watching later, we appreciate that too. Obviously, just kind of a rambly show today. We're just visiting, covering a few important things, though. We have a few world events to cover when we come back from break. We're going to do our break and our joke of the day with CEO Todd Patterson. And when we come back, we'll just cover a little bit about what's going on around the world, and then we'll close out today's show. Thank you for watching Washington Live. We'll see you in just a second.
Since 1905, Kelowna Cooperative Technology Company has helped our community stay connected with the latest advancements in clear, dependable telecommunications services. KCTC provides rural Iowans with access to high-speed fiber internet, as well as phone, television, computer repair, and cybersecurity solutions. We're also proud supporters of local organizations and area schools within the community. KCTC, keeping Kelowna connected.
For many, farmland holds more than financial value. It holds emotional value. Whether your farm has been in your family for generations or it's an investment, we recognize the importance of your relationship with your land. At Hertz Farm Management, we have been serving landowners in Iowa for over 75 years. At Hertz, we bring a personal and knowledgeable approach to helping customers manage, buy, sell, or appraise farms. We invite you to visit our Washington office and partner with someone you can trust.
I am now looped in, and I know that Kevin Flannery and Grace Moss are the homecoming king and queen. This is, of course, old news for everyone else except for me, but still wish congratulations to Kevin and Grace on that role. Thanks for sharing the paper with me.
Yes, and the Kevin Flannery. He looks like I looked in high school. The shaggy kind of blondish hair and the glasses. I thought that I was very confused for a second.
You thought it was a little, self-portrait.
Yeah.
Well, I'll come circle. And then you found out that you are related to people in Washington, Iowa. We're connecting dots.
Yeah, the Leiden family in Washington. I think so. It'd be my grandpa's brother moved up here and started his family.
How did you connect this dot? And so this almost means we're related, but not quite.
Yeah,
I was like, wait, I'm related by marriage or by second marriage. The Leiden cousins would be my step siblings.
Yeah, so that means we're technically somehow related.
We'll scratch it together somehow. How did you find out, though? What was the story?
It was during the coaches show, and someone mentioned the Leiden, which is my mom's maiden name, and I was like, wait a second. And then I remember playing baseball.
Yeah, we have a lot of Leidens here.
Against Leidens, and everything. And I don't think they know that I exist. I honestly could not tell you the name of one of the Leidens, but we are related.
Well, it is a big, small world all the time, always connected. It's just a matter of time before you find it out. Did I tell you when I was coming back from the airport in Atlanta and ran into someone that lives like 6 miles away? We both lost the same piece of luggage because we were forced to check a carry-on. That was a whole cluster and a half. So I'm standing next to this couple and I'm like, hey, where are you guys from? And this is in Atlanta. They're like, oh, we're Iowa. I'm like, oh yeah, the same. What part of Iowa? It's just southeast Iowa. I'm like, yes. We don't even say Washington. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. And they're actually Westchester address because they're like, oh, we just say Washington. And, big small world. The gentleman I ran into, his name is Colton. As we connected the dots about who we are, he works for my uncle. My uncle is his boss's boss. He just started working for the Coke industry, my Uncle Dan. He's like, I just spent the last 3 days at the Hunt Club where we did or 2 days where they do an onboarding thing.
That's crazy.
It is just bizarre. So you just keep your eyes out. You'll always run into these funny things.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about what's going on around the world, and then we'll close out with some birthday wishes and look forward to the next show coming up on Wednesday with Todd and Dr. Green. I guess so. Since I was in the car, I've been listening to some news and radio. I think the most poignant thing is the draft happening in Russia, and Russian men are fleeing the country and going to the border, and there's immigration and asylum and refugee. That was a whole different category, but basically Russian men are fleeing the country because they're being drafted into the war with Ukraine.
So this photo is the border with Georgia. And I think they said it was 16 miles long. 2 days to get through the border. You sat in your car for 2 days before you were finally able to cross.
That is intense. And I did read as well that the U.S. is giving additional aid to Ukraine. I think $500 million.
Just under $500 million.
Just under $500 million of aid for this country.
And then this was intense. Finland. You can see it's extending all the way back.
It's not related, but then for some reason the news, well, there's two things that I listened to on the radio this morning. One was about Reservation Dogs, not Reservoir Dogs, the Quentin Tarantino movie, but it's Reservation Dogs, and it's written and directed, and it's on Hulu by this guy who's a Native American from Oklahoma, and FX decided to film it in Oklahoma. It was like Terry Gross that did this full interview, and I think she does a nice job with certain subjects.
I've seen parts of the show, and it's very funny. It's definitely one of those situations where I feel like it'd be funnier if I grew up in a reservation, or maybe in Oklahoma or Montana, places with high indigenous populations. Yeah, sure. But even for me, I think it's a funny show. I highly recommend it.
Well, I think I am going to dive into it. And then they talked about too the words that we use, because you can use Indian, Native American, indigenous. It just depends on kind of reading the room, I guess, because we want to be considerate.
Yeah.
So again, shifting gears violently once more before we go into our birthdays. We have the Russians that are fleeing, but then the next special was all about the immigration backlog and all of the struggles with the border. And we don't get too political on this show, but I think we can objectively know that apparently it's a 5-year backlog in the court system in the category of immigration. It's really not good.
And I think I read about that right after the episode with John Gish, and talking about how the legal system can kind of get, I don't know if backlog was what he was talking. I know it's two different categories, but it's kind of all the way.
We probably need, sorry to cut you off, we probably need an expert to actually know what they're talking about.
But it's just I don't know if it's a manpower situation, getting more judges and lawyers and people. It is.
Well, you add all of those layers of complications. Exactly. You've got language, and then apparently lawyers are for the court system that you have a right, but as an immigration situation, you're not provided counsel, and it's not always in the language that you speak best or can read best, and so you are left to kind of fend for yourself, and that's fine, but then I think it just contributes to the problem and the backlog, because it all builds up on each other.
Yeah.
And like I said, this show is about good news and fun vibes and great guests, and we try to not go political really, but sometimes I can't help but talk about what's going on around the world.
Because
there's the thing.
Yeah, it is one of those things where we get the privilege to kind of come and sit here and talk about the fun stuff, but some people don't, and so it is good to kind of at least acknowledge what's happening.
If you have an idea for a guest that you'd like to see on the show, always you can email that to washialive@gmail.com. You can throw it in the chat. We do have a nice list going on the left, and we have a little schedule over here on the right as they start to fill in. So we might have your person on the list, but if not, or if you're not sure, throw it our way. We want to give you some of the content that you'd like to see. We appreciate your viewership and support. As always, if you'd like to advertise on Washington Live, talk to Julie here at the Southeast Iowa Union, the Journal Building. Julie is the person that will make it all happen. So we just have one celebrity birthday. That'll make the birthday game easy.
So yeah, it was. Well, it's only us, so I didn't think it'd be right to play the birthday game. It'd just kind of be super me awkward. Making you guess the birthdays. It kind of works out because there's only one celebrity birthday today.
I do need to say happy birthday to a few people. John's wife, Nicole, has a birthday. Happy birthday to Nicole. Haley Brockman is a friend with a birthday. Shar Anderson has a birthday today. Clay Eaton has a birthday today. And then a happy belated birthday to Andrew Billhart, Saturday the 24th. Belated birthday to you. And our celebrity birthday,
Serena Williams, who is...
I could guess since it's just one. I think she's my age or a little older. So 41?
41, yep.
I think I just heard a thing on her because Tiger Woods was congratulating. It doesn't matter, but happy birthday to Serena. We know you're watching. Appreciate your support. You're watching Washington Live, powered by KCTC. Thank you to our producer, Nick. I'm your host, Jaron Rosine. On Wednesday, look forward to Todd Patterson with Dr. Green. We will see you soon.